Alright, so this is our quartz crystal clock that we're about to disassemble. And we can notice right off the bat that each hand is on a different rotator so that they move independently of each other.
So we popped the top off the clock and Colin immediately dropped it.
No! I can put it back together.
So we picked up all the pieces and we put it back together just to make sure the clock was gonna work anyways, and it did. So we went on with that, and later on when we were putting the top back on again, we broke a gear in half. Just like...
Oh, I just broke a gear now. Great.
No, you didn't. Turns out that gear is actually the gear that connects the minute hand to the hour hand. So we put the clock back together again and our hour hand doesn't work. We're gonna super glue it back together and only a little part snapped off. So that part we're gonna put facing away from all the other gears so that the clock will work until it probably reaches the super glue, and then I'm gonna guess it's not gonna work after that.
Okay, so this is the disassembled clock with all the individual pieces labeled out here. And these are the hands of the clock that you could see from the outside. This is the battery and copper coil, which are considered the power source that drive the magnetic gear, which is right here. And this is, on the other side, is the quartz crystal that is the regulator that oscillates at 1 second, or second intervals.
As you can see, the way the power source works is we have two pieces of metal coming from both sides of the battery to these two metal plates, creating the circuit, and that circuit is transferred through one of these pieces of copper. It goes around the entire coil and back down the other piece of copper, the other side of the copper wire, and that creates a magnetic field down the middle. And that magnetic field is caught by this piece of metal right here, creating a circular magnetic field that's caught by this little magnetic gear. As you can see, by the way, it sticks on here, that's magnetic.
To start off, there's a little magnetic piece right here which turns from the pulse of the copper wire. It's attached to this little white gear up here. So it's gonna turn, which in turn turns this clear gear right here. That clear gear is connected to this bigger gear, which has 60 notches in it. So every time this gear turns one time around, that second hand's made one full rotation on the clock. The second hand, it's gonna go down and turn this bigger gear right here. This bigger gear also has a small gear attached to it right down there, which is gonna turn this gold gear. So this threads through onto the second hand, and as this gear turns, the smaller gear below it turns, which is gonna cause this gold gear to turn. So now we have attached one more gear. This is gonna be for the hour hand. If you can see, there's another gear in between the golden gear and this bigger gear. That small gear right there is the one that's connected to this extra gear we put on. It's gonna have another gear that's smaller attached to it, which in turn turns this white one, which is attached to this whole part. This is the part that's gonna turn the hour hand. So every time this entire gear rotates one time through, the hour hand will have made its 12-hour cycle around the clock face as well.
For our time indicating needles to mean anything, they need to move in front of a constant background or face of a clock. So I designed this clock face for our clock dedicated to Sir Thomas Bensky. so we finally put the clock back together. Our quartz crystal clock, as you can see, the hands are ticking and everything.